Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. I decided to talk about something with you guys that I didn't know if I was going to speak about it, but I feel like I want to share my family story because some people don't know about the situation that happened to my family, which was we experienced homelessness, and that was earlier this year. And so I just want to give you guys a quick story if I can get your ears just to hear what happened. So March of this year, 2023, my husband and I were, well, my husband had just went to work and I was upstairs in my office working. I had just decorated my office upstairs and, you know, just got back from maternity leave. So I was just trying to get myself, not just got back from maternity leave, but the point is I was just getting my office together just to, you know, prepare myself to be productive and get work done. To make a long story short, when my husband left to go to work, I was getting my son ready for a bath, and my daughter was upstairs laying down on the couch because I had a couch in my office. If you guys seen my office in my previous residence before we moved here, I had like a couch inside my office. So anyway, she was laying down on the couch and I was just working. All of a sudden I heard a pop. And my son was taking off his clothes because he was going to get ready to get in the tub. So when I heard this popping noise, I looked in the bathroom and I saw water just rushing up out of the toilet. So I kind of panicked because I didn't know what to do. I'm not no but a plumber. And I didn't know what was going on at that moment. So I was freaking out. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. But there was like upstairs in my office, I had my computer set up at the time and all the cords right there, and I see my daughter's right on the couch and water's rushing in and it's all this electrical stuff. So only thing I'm thinking is I don't want my baby to get electrocuted. I don't care what's going on with my job at this point, because I was actually on a call with a patient and I said, oh no, and I hung up the call. So Quality had heard that call that day. They was like, what was going on? Because I didn't care who's on the phone. I didn't care about none of that. I had to get my baby out off the couch, away from all this water, and get to safety. So I ran downstairs with my son. He was downstairs and he was ready to get in the tub. He was confused, trying to figure out, you know, Mom, what's wrong? Why are you panicking? So he's like, Mommy, you okay? Mommy, you okay? So I'm like panicking. Then all of a sudden water started coming from the roof. It started sinking through. It was like really bad, y'all. It was a real bad flood. And so I called my husband, told him what was happening. I called my landlord a few times. The landlord wasn't picking up. And so I started to, what did I do? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And so then I called the fire department. They told me to get out the house and evacuate immediately because the lights were still on. There was still a lot of electrical stuff plugged in. They didn't want a fire to start or any electrical things to happen because of the water and everything's plugged in. So the fire department got there. Then my husband left work, got there, and we were still contacting our landlord. They weren't picking up the phone at all. So when they got there, they got the breaker, they stopped the water from coming, and they was able to stop the flood, but they had to cut off the water. So they had advised that we find somewhere to stay for the night, because the way our condo that we lived in, we lived there about 5 years, so it was pretty big. We also had a downstairs neighbor, and actually the flooding was so bad, it went from upstairs to downstairs or our level to downstairs to the next door neighbors, to the neighbors downstairs beneath us, and they had just moved there from a previous issue with flooding as well. So I felt so bad for them. So they were upset because they had just moved in, and then all of a sudden something similar has happened to them again, where a sewer had overflooded their home and you know, soaked everything up. So they advised everyone to move out. I did call my rental insurance. Of course I had rental insurance, thank God I did, because I literally had renewed, I got a new policy for that. And so I called them and let them know what's going on, started my claim. Still, my landlord nowhere to be found. They finally called us after I got to my mom's house and was trying to figure out what was going on. After they called me, I gave them my address, what happened, and you know, started my claim process. My landlord still was nowhere to be found, but when we finally got on hold with them, they took their time calling us back, and then they was freaking out, and they sent a plumber, which I understand why they were freaking out, but they sent a plumber and they were harassing me to come over there. So I ended up going over there to meet the plumber and, you know, getting that situation situated. And it was just a big mess, y'all. So I went over there, got that down packed, and then they were basically, my landlords were trying to blame us for doing this. So I went back to my mom's house after that. It was a stressful, hectic night. I was really concerned about my husband because when he get off of work, he likes to go to sleep. But I was like, he don't really have nowhere to sleep because it was at my mom's house and my kids were in the bed with her and my mom's husband was in another room. But I could have stayed there, but I was thinking about my husband because I don't want him getting off of work and sleeping on a couch or having to get a mattress. So I was like, I want to go get a hotel so we could be comfortable. And even though my mom did not complain or say anything, I just felt like we weren't really 100% welcome. You know, you come to somebody else's comfort in their home. So I was just like, I just didn't feel comfortable there. So I went ahead and got a hotel. Not too far from my husband's job, and you know, my husband came with me to go check in and make sure we were settled inside the hotel, and then he came back after work. But the next day, y'all, was a hot mess. It was like us warring against our landlord. They're blaming us. But when the plumber did their assessment, they said there was nothing clogging the toilet. There was nothing, like no signs of foul play, that there's something with the plumbing system that they believe is going on. But the landlord didn't want to be responsible. They were trying to use our insurance to file a claim. They didn't want to use their own insurance because we have our rental insurance, they have their ownership and, you know, insurance. And so it was just so much going on, y'all, because it's a private owned condo, by the way. And so they ended up bringing some people to come dry up the floors. They had these and I'm gonna leave some pictures if I can. They had tapes and different little baggage things tied up, and they had these fans, and it was just so much going on. And we couldn't stay there. It wasn't livable. So when my insurance company contacted my landlord, they asked us how long will we be displaced because they're going to reimburse us. She said this is going to be permanent, not temporary. And I was like, well, do you have another place for us to stay while you guys are doing this, or since we can't live there? She was like, no. So, and then after that, she sent me a letter saying that the lease is terminated. We need to be out by this certain date. And that was like 3 days from the time we were at the Airbnb. So I needed to go back to work because if we're going to be doing all this, I'm going to need the money to pay to move. And we had money to move, but it was just like trying to find a place that quick. It was hard, and it's difficult, especially here in Florida. So anyway, I had to find somewhere to go, and I was just so stressed out, but I needed a place to work. So I went to Airbnb, which ended up working out for me to work. However, it was just like temporary, and then we needed more time to find somewhere to live. So I was trying to extend our Airbnb. We couldn't extend it because the host was telling us that someone else was coming the night, the day that we have to leave or whatever. Someone already booked it for that weekend. So I was just stressed out trying to find somewhere to go, find somewhere to move, because my kids didn't deserve that. And I was watching my children that night. I couldn't really sleep because my husband's at work. I'm in an unknown area, and I'm looking at my children sleeping, and I was crying, and I said to God, like, you know, my kids don't deserve this. They don't deserve homelessness because we're homeless. We can't find nowhere to go. We don't really have no help. My dad did offer for us to come stay with him, which I was going to take up the offer. Did I want to? No. But he was like, you guys can sleep in the living room until you guys find somewhere to go. And he had a small apartment with his wife. And then my husband's father called. He knew the situation, but it was like when we were calling, nobody was answering the phone. Like, nobody was offering help. They know what's going on, but nobody was offering no type of aid, especially his side of the family, because they have money, y'all. They have the room to house us. Not saying that that's their responsibility, but if you see your grandchildren and your son and his wife is displaced temporarily, you should aid something or help pay for a hotel or something. They didn't do nothing. So, you know, at that point, I looked at my husband and I was like, you know, I'm happy I'm going through this with you because it's teaching me something, that we have to always work together. We are a team, you know, as husband and wife and as parents to our children. So we got to work together for them, and we got to hold it together. He had his moments where he felt defeated and down. I had to cheer him up. I had my moments where I felt the same way, and he cheered me up. And we had to get through this moment together. We were homeless for like 2 weeks, and no, it wasn't a long time, but it felt like forever because we never had this situation happen. Since my son was born, he's 4 years old now, I never been through something like that, especially with children. If I was just single or just me and my husband, I'm all right. We'd be all right. But without our children, no, it didn't feel good. I didn't like that, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. We ended up landing where we're living at now. This is a newly built home, but prior to getting this one, the other houses that we were applying for, y'all, we kept getting denied. I couldn't understand why they were rejecting us. And then I was like, well, I reached out to the realtor. I was like, well, should we just go buy? But that process would have been quick for us. It's a process, but it was like hard to get someone to have us move in like that same weekend. Like we were trying to move like right now, and so it was so difficult. We didn't want to go to an apartment because we had accumulated so much in that condo. We was there for 5 years. That apartment couldn't house us, all my family, and the things that we had, unless we just threw everything away, which we still had to throw a lot of stuff away. So I just thank God for opening the door for this home that we're in now. This is not our forever home, but I'm just happy that God did give us this home. After that, we ended up moving here, but we're still at war with our landlord because we were trying to wait till our adjuster come take pictures and assess the damages, but they were trying to really get us out. And then we were trying to get reimbursed our money that we spent. We spent so much money eating out and staying in the Airbnb and hotels that the insurance wouldn't pay out anything till they figure out what was going on, because they said, well, you're being illegally evicted if this is not an eviction. I said, well, they terminated the lease. She said it's not an eviction. And I said, why would we be getting evicted for a flood that we didn't cause? And so it was just so much going on with that. And the landlord also left us with a pretty high light bill. When they had these workers come and do this working and had these fans blowing, y'all, our light bill was over $500. And the agreement was they were going to help pay half the cost. And so when we moved out, she said that just to get us out. But as soon as we moved out, y'all, the lady blocked me from calling her phone. I ended up calling her for another number to get through. And I said, oh, so you blocked my number? Y'all, she was being so nasty and an a-hole to us. And I couldn't understand that. And so she just thinking that we did it and the story's not lining up. And the moral of the story, y'all, we found out that it was the sewer, because the water was dirty, that came up was from a pipe from the sewer that burst. And that would cause the overflow to come up the toilet and flood the whole entire house. So they end up being responsible for that, and not only responsible for the damages in the unit, they end up responsible for the damages downstairs as well for the other new tenants that just moved in. So it was just a lot of confusion in there, and I'm just so happy that season is over now. But what this had taught me and my husband is that we definitely have to be partners with each other. However, it taught us humility, because I have so much empathy now for people that go through things like this on a daily basis where they're struggling to survive with children. Because even though our moment was short and we did gratefully have the money to move, it was just like, you know, when you don't have nobody to really help you, don't really have family to assist you, and it's just you guys lean on each other. Imagine me going through that by myself and my husband going through that alone. I wouldn't want that. You know, I'm happy that him and I went through it together and we grew from that. And we said, you know, from this day forward, our next home, no one can ever snatch it or take it away from us, because we're going to be owners of it. And it's going to be our home that we're going to leave for our children. And I'm sharing this story just to help someone that went through something similar or going through something similar right now, that's facing homelessness and feeling like you have your back against the wall. No one's helping you. Trust me, listen, God will help you get through this moment, because he did that for us. And what he did for us, he would do for you. And after like sleeping on couches and in hotels, Airbnbs, I would never want, I went out, listen y'all, I would never want to go there again. And I'm documenting this because I want you guys to witness the journey that God's going to do for us, because soon y'all going to see us in our new home. And I'm prophesying this, y'all. That's what my husband and I are working towards. You know, we want our home. We want this. We want our house, because we don't want to ever go through that. Our children don't deserve that. And I kept saying that. My children don't deserve this. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve this. And I'm doing it for them. And so that is what we're going to be doing. And sometimes I be hesitant to say things like this publicly, because you never know who's monitoring and watching you. But I'm going to say it with boldness and with faith, that that's what's going to happen for us. And nothing can stop it. In Jesus' name. So I wanted to share that story with you guys of our season of homelessness. I feel like I'm missing some things, but if I did, I can't remember right now. But yeah, we were homeless, but God opened the door for us, and we're here temporarily. And yeah. So if you like this video, definitely go ahead and subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. If you've ever been through something similar where your family faced homelessness, or if you are currently homeless, comment down below. Let me know how you get through, your situation, or how you overcame when you were going through it. And y'all be generous to people, because this has taught us humility, and me and my husband are very generous to the poor, because now we know somewhat of what they experience on a day by day. So yeah, I love y'all. Thank you guys for listening and watching this video. Until next time, you have a great day and God bless you.